New feature of Zoom. You have to agree to be recorded here. All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're very glad you're with us today. It is June 1st, 2021. Amazing how the year has gone by so far, almost halfway through the year. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions, or as soon as you think about questions, just open up the chat box and please put your questions into the chat box. For those people watching on Facebook, please just enter your question into the comment field. I am monitoring that feed and I'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Please note this event is currently being recorded, as you just saw, and it's currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you happen to post a comment in the chat box or have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your comments, name, and picture to appear. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org to help those in the Dallas-Fort Worth area by putting everything if you were unemployed, to try to put everything you need to know about your job search in one place. In 2012, I started a second website called careerusa.org to help people outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It's available on Amazon. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s, and I'll tell you about our upcoming programming at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team. If you'd like more information on the PIT crew or the practice interview team, reach out to me. It's a great way to practice your interviewing skills. And don't wait until somebody calls you up for an interview. Practice now, practice often, be prepared. It's definitely worth doing. All right, well, when we started LinkedIn a year and a few months ago, I lined up some just fantastic speakers to talk about LinkedIn. The reason we've got 4 different speakers is because I thought it was important that you hear about LinkedIn from a different point of view each week, and maybe a little bit different skills, and everybody focuses on LinkedIn a little bit differently because LinkedIn changes every day, every week. You know, you go into it and go, well, wait, when did that start? I never even saw that before. So these are just all little things, and it's just great to have different points of view and different people pointing out different things every day. So join us every week as we have different speakers who talk about LinkedIn. Today, our speaker is Locke Alderson. He's a career consultant, a recruiting consultant, contract recruiter. He's going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies to get results. So Locke, thank you for being with us, and it's all yours.
Okay, how do I refresh me, Jeff? Share screen, right?
Share screen, pick your PowerPoint.
What did I do?
And there you go. Well, I'm looking at your desktop. I'm not looking at the PowerPoint.
Well,
oh, there we go. Put that in presentation mode.
yeah, if I can get the top, that screen at the top, there we go. Slideshow. From the beginning.
You're good.
Well, as Jeff mentioned, I have been working with LinkedIn for a while. I think I started back in 2004 or 2005, so that makes me kind of a dinosaur with LinkedIn. But again, I have a history of working in recruiting and HR for about 42 years and about 19 years in career consulting. Some of that was simultaneous while I was with Siebel and with Oracle Corporation. And I've been doing this. I did work with Lee Heck Harrison and Mullen International, 2 outplacement firms, for a total of almost 6 years. So that's my background in terms of recruiting and that kind of effort. We'll move on and talk a little bit about LinkedIn. Well, it's not working today, so we're going to have to manually advance it. Okay, well, I guess one of the questions you might ask is why LinkedIn? Again, LinkedIn was started as something we'll talk about in a minute. We want to look at your profile. Your headline and your about sections, two important ones. Your open to work. Some of you, most of you should have included your skills and endorsements. Those are the three, some of the three key areas along with your employment section. We want to take a look at optimizing your profile and taking a look at others' profiles to see how you can improve yours. And we want to take a look at it from a slightly different perspective. And Kurt Vandemotter spends a whole session on this, how do recruiters actually do searches. And then we want to actually look at taking a look at searching for jobs in the different ways, how you can create job alerts, how you can use filters to narrow down your search. If you have 1,000 jobs that you're looking at, you can narrow it down to 15 or 20. We want to look at searching for people and companies, maybe looking at some of your target companies. And then we have some homework for you to take a look at as well. Okay. LinkedIn was originally designed as a networking tool for sales and marketing professionals to develop leads and that kind of thing, to talk about things that are important to sales and marketing people. Well, recruiters being no dummies, and one of the reasons that LinkedIn was that way is there are about 750 million people worldwide, 160 million of those are in the United States. So recruiters quickly adopted that, I should say, not adapted, but adopted LinkedIn as a tool. And there are about 1.4 million recruiters use LinkedIn to find and engage talent. This is a pretty significant amount when you look at it. It's now the #1 tool used by hiring managers and recruiters to find candidates, okay, to qualify them. The other reason that people look at LinkedIn is there are about 30 million employers with over 20 million available jobs are on LinkedIn on any given day. Pretty significant. One comment about LinkedIn that somebody made in a survey LinkedIn did, LinkedIn is an irreplaceable tool in my career. The ability to show employers the exact experience and skills that I have on my profile is what uniquely helped me get the job. Another candidate who was over 55 commented, finding a job at my age seemed impossible. I turned to LinkedIn. 80% of the interviews were generated through LinkedIn, and 60% didn't even involve a recruiter. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you want to go to YouTube, look up something for logging on to LinkedIn. How do you sign up for it and fill in your profile? But it all starts with your profile. The profile is basically your homepage. It's kind of the introductory remark. It's like the top third of your resume. And again, there are a number of things that you notice on that. You notice the background photo that's here. Okay. What has somebody done there? Okay. You notice my headshot that's there, and my name, my headline that's there, and the contact information that's there, my connections, that I'm open to work. Okay. There's also some affiliations that I have with Meg Group, which is one of the networking groups I'm a part of, and also that I'm a graduate of A&M. On this particular notice, on the open to work, you'll notice here that I've only opened it up to recruiters on this slide, and we'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Okay? So that's LinkedIn. And you want the name that you want to use on LinkedIn right here in your profile, that's the name that you want to be called by. My full name is John Locke Alderson Jr. My father was John, my son is John. So when the telemarketers call and ask for John Alderson, I teasingly ask them which one. And they ask for my dad, John Alderson, and I say, well, he's no longer available. He passed away about 20 years ago. My son is down in Austin if you need to speak with him. So those are just some things. Those are the first things that a recruiter sees when they look at your profile. When we take a look at your profile, what increases your ranking? Because every section of LinkedIn has a value. Those values add up. When they do a search, that value is evaluated daily by LinkedIn. They've got a pretty humongous algorithm that does the searching on that. So it's evaluated on a number of factors. I'll get it right yet. You want to complete your profile to an all-star status. That's the top rating that you can have. You want to have a professional headshot, perhaps a banner or background photo, and you can locate banner or background photos by going on Google and looking up LinkedIn background or banner photos, and choose one for yours. Again, it's a long, wide, scenic shot as well. The headline, the job title, the position that you're applying for. If you don't put a title in there, it's going to default to the last job title that you had in your employment section. You're open to work, which is under your headline. That's something else that you're going to want to address. You can open it up to everybody on LinkedIn, or you can limit it to recruiters if you're still working or have a bridge job that you're in right now. The About section, which is your summary, and that's what it used to be called, is an overview of your career using keywords from your profession. And you can have up to 2,000 characters in that. A lot of people just have 3 or 4 lines. And then if you do just that, you're shortchanging yourself about what people can see about you. Contact information. In addition to having the contact information over in your security settings, you want your contact information, specifically your email address and your phone number, as the first line of your about section. And the reason for that is somebody else is different with me. I know Ruth Lipsky last week had said she has it at the bottom of her about section. I recommend it at the top because only the first 3 lines of your about section show when somebody looks at your profile, or you can put it in both locations. Ruth is a firm believer that those top 3 lines are valuable real estate. That's selling real estate, that you want to have something that's going to hook somebody to look at the rest of your profile, to click to see more. The experience section, you want to have your job title. And if it's an unusual title, add the generally used title in parentheses. An example might be, I've worked with technical people and they're a member of design staff, or technical staff number 3. Again, that doesn't tell much to a recruiter or somebody else looking at your profile. You want a description of your duties. You want to keep it brief, usually no more than 3 or 4 lines, and some results. What were some of the things that you accomplished in performing those duties? And include keywords from your profession. Your skills from your profession and endorsements are also important. Every time I try and look at somebody, I'll try and look at their skill set and endorse them for a couple of things if I can and have time. Education, award, certification, and professional development. You want to add, in addition to your degrees, if you have them, what awards have you achieved? What certifications you've got? And LinkedIn has some certifications that you can take online now. And what professional development courses? Most of us, after we've had our degree and been at work for a while, they have seminars that we've been to or workshops, and we've learned some additional things. And you want to include those on your profile to show that your technology and your skills are current. And recommendations. These are basically letters of reference, again, from coworkers and former bosses, and we'll take a look at one in my profile when we look at that a little bit later. Again, going back to our profile, is your profile really public? Okay, you want to take a look at that. You can edit your profile when you go to the check me over that and edit your profile. LinkedIn will assign you a name. Usually it's your name with a dash and then 8 to 10 characters after that. I would take those 8 to 10 characters off. And if it's John Jones, there might be a lot of John Joneses, so maybe John Jones Dallas or John Jones CPA or MBA, something to identify you that you can take and put on your business card. You can also include it on your resume. If it's a URL that you can use, you'll get that green check mark. If not, somebody else has used it with the red X. Again, you want to see, is your public profile really public? There's some settings that you could check over in your settings and privacy, the different settings, and that's worth spending a little bit of time going through and looking at those, perhaps even updating that. But those are some other things that you can manage in your settings in your personal section. We move on to the next section, privacy and settings, some things that you do want to do. Again, viewing options, who can edit you, who can see or download your email address, who can see your connections, who can see your last name. These are things that you want to take a look at. Make a decision whether you want people to know about you or not. Some people don't like their address known, so they just put Plano, Texas, or they don't like their email address or their phone number known so that people don't stalk them, telemarketers. Just put your email address, but do have something that people can get in touch with you by. Again, going back, you have 6 to 10 seconds on your profile. Notice in this one, I checked the open to work box. It gives you a banner around your name. If you're using that, be sure to adjust your photo, your headshot, so that it doesn't cover up your face. That's something to think about. But notice the different areas. Here in the headline section, I've used probably about 130 characters. You have 220 characters that you get to play with there. The open to work section is important as well because you can list at least 5 different job titles. You can list the kinds of jobs that you're looking for, whether it's permanent, full-time, part-time, temporary, or consulting types of positions. Okay, moving on. Here's some headlines we want to take a look at. Give me some ideas of what you think about these. Unemployed and retired, they're okay. They're probably truthful, but probably not the most positive headline that you can use to describe yourself. Here's another one, seeking new opportunity. Again, a true statement, but doesn't give very much information to the person reviewing your profile. You want to amplify that significantly. Formerly VP of Finance, again, we've identified his particular area of expertise as a VP of finance, not what kind of finance, what kind of company maybe, but he's formally, so he's no longer in that. We don't know whether he's been out of work for about a month or retired 10 years ago. So give some idea that your skills are current, because that's what recruiters are looking for, is current skills that they can apply to their jobs. Experienced digital design engineer seeking new opportunity. Again, more descriptive, talks about his design experience. And it's with digital design, not hardware necessarily, hardware design or civil engineering type design opportunities. Social media strategist and content manager, seeking a new opportunity. Again, using the pipe character. If you use the pipe character, which is a shift key above the enter on most keyboards, you want to leave a space on either side, because if I don't put the space, community pipe print is not a searchable term when a recruiter does a search. You can use abbreviations. Some abbreviations are widely accepted and searchable, like public relations or PR or CPA or VP. Others are not. So if you use some abbreviations, spell it out the first time that you use it. Supply chain, procurement, purchasing, senior accountant, general ledger, again in the shortened version, financial reporting and costs. Give some information about it. You can also use some soft skills about it. And we'll take a look at some headlines in just a second that do that. Use some softer skills to describe those things. Executive assistant, if I were to do a search in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and when I was doing outplacement work, frequently had some executive assistants. They're about 35,000 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So it's hard to distinguish what their skills are, so add some additional information that they've done budgeting and event planning, or that you work for the CEO as an executive assistant. IT project manager, idle, Scrum Master are some other things that you can look at. Again, for an IT recruiter, that's pretty descriptive, and they might want to look further at that individual. General Manager, Manufacturing, Aerospace. Again, very descriptive of the individual. If somebody is recruiting in that field, they might want to look a lot further. Here's some other headlines. VP of Marketing, this is from Ruth. She used these last week, but just to reiterate these, VP of Marketing and Global Marketing. But they use some adjectives to describe it, creative value for business through marketing strategy. So they've got some strategy experience. Project management has some sales and program management experience as well. However, if you have the other things, specialize in international business expansion, they have international experience, which may be valuable for somebody. Likewise, customer service, senior manager, customer relations, the call center, service center, or other kinds of descriptive terms that you can use. She's added a director of customer relations, helping the world become more customer centric. So it gives a better description of what the individuals are looking for. You also want to let recruiters know that you're open to work. If you're currently working, you may not want to make that open to everybody, only open to recruiters. But again, it gives you the opportunity to add locations and what type of work that you're looking for. Another feature on your LinkedIn profile is your dashboard and featured section. We're looking at your dashboard right now. You know a number of things right now. If you've ever clicked on the numbers right now, I'm going to do that in just a minute. We'll see how many times, who's looked at your profile. You can get a look at some of the people. If you paid for the LinkedIn Premium, it'll give you all the names. If you're not, maybe give you only 3 or 4 names of the people who've looked at you. How many times have you appeared in a posting? I posted some information about this. I think I had about 300 people look at the posting that I had for this presentation today. And search appearances. How many times have you appeared in searches? And again, it gives you some information about that. You can also post in the featured section some other information. I have a couple of the presentations I've done. This is an old version of LinkedIn that's posted there. Avoiding the resume black hole is another one. It's there, but I have about 7 presentations. You can also include your resume there if you want. You can also, the only danger about including a resume there, though, it's not current. It isn't tailored to a specific position. Again, you can also include as a portfolio if you're a design engineer or somebody in advertising. Again, my son's a motion graphic designer, and he has his portfolio there. Some of the things he's done with video and also with motion graphics. Think about animated features like the new Disney movie that's out. Raya, I think, that I saw yesterday, went out to the movies yesterday for a nice change. If we take another look and we clicked on that number of search appearances, this is what it looks like. You can find the keywords that the searchers use to find me, and in most cases here, it was the word recruiter. So those are people that are looking for me, trying to find a recruiter to help them find a job in most cases. Occasionally there's somebody, a hiring manager, that's looking for a recruiter. Again, so that, and you can look at some of the companies over here where these people work. While they may not have jobs for you, again, these are companies that may have people doing the kind of work that you do. So it's always good to know and add to your target list of companies. The next thing we want to take a look at is your summary. Again, in your about section. You notice in this case, this individual has posted their email address right at the top. They have an excellent description of a financial planning and analysis individual. Again, they've listed FP&A down here. It is a searchable term, but some people don't know that. So they've spelled out what the acronym stands for. Again, this is a good description about that in the about section. Remember that you have about 2,000 characters in your about section. Again, it's a good idea here. I would have broken this up if I were advising somebody, 3 or 4 lines and then some space and perhaps an accomplishment that they had before you get to the next term. Again, list it all together and it's well done, so that may not apply. Again, the advice that we give, if it works, you aren't doing it and getting the results that you are, you might try it before you go into something else. Okay, here's some other summary samples. Again, notice they've used first person, which you generally don't do in a resume, but you can do it in your LinkedIn profile. I am grateful to be a partner in a world-class award-winning company. Give some idea of their background. This individual has had experience with Disney World, Golf Institute, some other things that they've done. Strategic hands-on marketer. Again, normally those words don't tell much without some results to it, but again, looking for opportunity. This is part of your summary. Again, you can have that up to 2,000 characters, and if we have time today, we'll look at some of your profiles. This is the experience section. You want the company, the job title that you've had, the company and dates, your duties and responsibilities, usually keeping those to 3 to 5 lines. You notice mine here as a recruiter, there's actually 4 lines. I had a couple of bulleted accomplishments here, and then I just tossed in, this was an email from my former boss's boss when I was at Oracle Corporation. I thought it gave some additional information about me as a recruiter from a VP kind of level in the recruiting organization in Oracle, which has over 100 recruiters. But different things that you can do in your about section. Notice that there's different formats. These are bulleted items. In this case, I used asterisks because I don't think the word processor that's in LinkedIn allows you to use bullets. So I just used asterisks and a space and indented them a little bit. Next area I want to take a look about is you don't have a current position. If you're unemployed and don't have a current position, you won't get the value for that when LinkedIn runs the algorithm. So what I suggest doing is adding a current position, which might be the job. What are the job that you're looking for? In this case, a software application developer. They're looking for full-time work, searching for an opportunity perhaps in a particular industry that you're looking at, and where you're looking. Notice I started to type on Dallas. And again, there's several that are here. There's a Dallas, Georgia. There's a Dallas, Oregon as well. So you want to check that in terms of where you're willing to work and look at. Those people who have these kinds of things down on their current position are more likely to be found. Again, it gives you another chance to talk about your area of expertise. And the more times it's there, the more likely it's going to be added to your value. As we move on to the skills section, skills and endorsement, this is further down on your profile. And you can list to up to 50 skills that you have, and you can organize them by moving things around in there. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Okay? But LinkedIn will choose 3 of your skills and list them. But if those aren't the ones that you want to choose, then you can add others. You notice if I were to click on that, it would do there. If you start to type in one up here, under data analysis, and it's not a title that LinkedIn recognizes, it will give you a message to that effect. But you can add up to 50. Okay. Here are the skills and endorsements for me off of my profile before I rearranged it. Career counseling, executive search, and recruiting. Okay, those were the 3 that I did when I was with Lee Heck Harrison and with Mullen International. I've been endorsed by people as well. Okay, and notice this number. These are the number of endorsements that I've had. You can have up to 500, but I will only show 99. One of the advantages of doing something like that, all things being equal on a recruiter or an accountant or a buyer or sales representative, a person with 99 gives the impression that they have more experience, more credibility than the person that just has 1 or 2. Okay, Okay, in terms of the skills and endorsements, you notice this is how it comes up on your profile. When you look at your profile on the top, and it will list the 3 at the top. If you don't like these, like career counseling, you can push the blue push. Oh, sorry about that. The keyboard is pretty sensitive. Again, if you push the blue push pin right there, again, it will drop it down to the others below there. If you wanted to rearrange these, you can come over to the 4 lines here and hold down your cursor and drag that down and rearrange it if I wanted to put technical recruiting at the top. There are up to 50 that are on below that in terms of industry knowledge, and technical soft skills are also listed in that particular area. But those are some of the things that recruiters look for in terms of that. Another thing is to look at people who want to do that and look at other people's profile when you do a search. In this case, it was for recruiters in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There are about 26,000 on this particular search that I did. It varies each time you run it. And again, you might want to identify, why are these people listed? These are not people that I'm linked to. Usually used to be that I would show up in the first 2 screens there. And recruiter will look at probably about 10 screens. That's about 100 thumbnail sketches. And if you don't show up there, you might want to ask yourself, well, what am I not doing that other people are doing to get included in this? So open up, click on their name and look at their profile. Look at some of the verbiage that they've used and incorporate some of that verbiage in your profile if it applies. And I emphasize if it applies. Don't copy them verbatim, because people will know it's not you when they talk to you. Okay, so what are recruiters? Let's switch gears and talk about what do recruiters really search for. Again, as we'll see in just a minute on a slide from Kurt Vandemodel's presentation, they look at keywords. Okay, those are the things that one of the first things that they look at. They look at the job title or job titles, both your past and present job titles in your headline, in your open to work, and in your employment section. The more times that it's there, the greater the likelihood is you're going to get found for something like that. They look at your skills. They may look at an industry if that's specific, like healthcare, which is pretty specific. They're almost to the point of being incestuous and looking for people with healthcare experience. Other skills or otherwise. They'll look at your education and location. And again, prior companies. Some companies look for pedigree. Your pedigree. I know when I interviewed for a recruiter position with one of the companies here in the Dallas area, they were looking for someone who graduated from a top 10 business school in the United States. So those are things that are important to different hiring managers, what the hiring managers told the recruiters that they have to have for something like that. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at recruiter searches, okay? It looks for keywords, as I mentioned. It looks for skills. It looks for an exact match on titles and job, current job, previous job, and headlines. Because when a search is run, it's looking for a match on a given, on each of the fields that it can find. And keywords, job titles, and skills are some of those things that are searched on. The open to work makes it easier for people, meaning that you're more open for a recruiter to call. I know when I was a recruiter or started recruiter training years ago to start my own firm, they said if I wanted to make 20 placements, I might end up making 5,000 calls. 4,000 would be no, okay? And that narrows it down a little bit to 1,000. But again, 1,000 to get 20, a lot of work. So again, people that are open to work means that they're open to being approached or talked about. I know my wife was approached about a job. Someone knew her, asked her if she knew of somebody that might be interested in the job the person described. My wife said no, because that was her background. But on Monday, after Friday, the call was on Friday. On Monday, she called back and said she was interested, and she got that job. Geographic location. Most of you out there listening are looking for jobs that are 20 to 25 miles from home. And that's one of the things, but some people are open to anything across the United States. I know there are a couple of people on the call today that are in other parts of the country, and they are open to relocation. And you can identify that in your open to work section as well. All-star status, having a complete profile, and the connections and having over 500 connections. And posts and comments are also important. Again, those are things that recruiters take a look at. Well, let's actually take a look at a recruiter search. This is the screen because Kurt has purchased the recruiter software license. They spend, I think he spends for himself and Carla, the other person in the firm with him, they spent about $19,000 on licenses on LinkedIn. But you notice all the fields that they can check on that. The job titles, locations, the skills and assessments, the companies, the school, year of graduation, industries that somebody's worked with. Any of those that they can do that. They can sort through 710 million candidates. They can do that in less than 30 seconds and narrow that list down to perhaps 100 by the search that they do, depending upon how fine it is. Let's take a look at actual search results. This is one for in general for accountants. This was run without a location specific, so there are about 4,280,000. This is off of Ruslide's last week. It met the criteria, but they were job titles, locations, skills, companies that they'd worked for, year of graduation, and schools. Those were some of the criteria that they have. They weren't ranked on anything other than accountant nationwide. But let's take a look at a more specific search that somebody did. This particular one was for a product manager in the Seattle area, which where the company was located. And they were looking for somebody with a background in product marketing, product management, and they were looking for some specific companies. These are companies that all have operations in the Seattle area with Microsoft, Amazon, and Fluke Corporation. And they were looking at a local school up there, University of Washington. They had almost 7,000 total candidates that showed up. Some had a company following. Some of those people were actually following the company that's doing the search, okay, and engaged with your talent brand. Again, there are different ways to follow a company, but you can do that. But you notice some of those. This was Seattle area. This was, again, greater Seattle area. But again, taking a look at another search. This is for a project manager in Chicago. Again, greater Chicago area, but they would consider somebody from San Francisco or New York. Again, this one drew 43,000. If you do that search in the Dallas area and look for a project manager, you'll probably get about 43,000 in the Dallas area. Only 83 were open to new opportunities. That surprises me that that number is as low. Again, have company connections. They're connected to the company doing the search and have engaged the company's brand. They're finding out information about the company, something that you want to do, make you more appealing to the recruiter looking for candidates. Again, notice the individual here had the skills were located in companies. And Northwestern is a school up in the Chicago area. So let's switch gears again and do an actual look for jobs for you. Again, when you do the search bar, click the search bar up here on jobs. Okay, it opens up a screen that you can do search jobs and location. If you just enter a title here, job title, and don't put a location, excuse me, if you haven't entered a location previously, it will bring back the United States. Okay, so you want to enter in a location there if you want to, and then click search. And when you do click a search, this was a search I did for an accountant in Plano, Texas. You notice it defaults to 25 miles. That's the location factor, because most candidates have taught recruiters that they don't want to commute more than 25 miles to work. So recruiters have put that as a criteria in their search. And the job boards, when they came along, make that the default setting on job boards. So most of them, if you'll notice, it's 25 miles from the location. So that's how recruiters do that. If you're more than 25 miles from a location, you want to make that known. You might want to have, if you're up in Denton, you may want to get a Dallas zip code address when you put your location, or Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a little bit more generic in terms of job opportunities. But this one drew, again, the filter had 144 results. This starts to list them, again, some of the links, connections that are there, and that you can try on something like that. That's a pretty good opportunity for somebody. Again, one of the things that you can do once you've identified the job is to go to filters. This is an old screen from LinkedIn. They've updated it. It's now just half a screen wide on that, but it gives you the opportunity to search more from that. Again, I always recommend that people go and switch the openings from all jobs open anytime to the past week or the past 24 hours, because the first response to a posting is usually within the first 2 or 3 minutes. And there can be as many as 200 or 300 responses in the first hour. Some of you have undoubtedly encountered this job is no longer available, meaning the recruiter has shut down the job because they have enough candidates to take a look at. Again, LinkedIn has picked up, I think they picked it up from Indeed.com, which is probably the best job board that's available out there today. They picked up the salary, so you can target salary and narrow the search down for you and not look for jobs for 40K if you were making 120K. The easy apply is another feature that you can use. I don't necessarily recommend that, because sometimes the easy apply simply takes your profile and submits it as your resume. It doesn't allow you to tailor your profile to the particular job. If you posted your resume, again, it may take that, which may again not be tailored to the particular job. If the easy applies allows you to upload your resume, then it's okay to do that. But again, some of the other filters I mentioned, full-time, contract, part-time, intern, are all opportunities. When I do some search right now, most of the things I'm looking for are part-time and contract. It allows you to identify location if you want. It helps to identify companies, also helps to identify industries that you can choose. But those are some of the filters that you can do, and you can click apply, and it will do that. Again, if it doesn't meet your criteria, again, there's a button that you can choose to go back to your original search. You can also create job alerts. There's a tab on there that says create a job alert. If I clicked on that, this is the drop-down screen that gives you the option to either have daily notifications or weekly notifications as soon as a new job is posted for a recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I could save that. This is what the result looks like. That radio button is still on. Okay. So that's creating the job alerts. Another way to search for jobs is simply to go to the search box at the top of the screen and enter the information. Carol, who does the resume sessions frequently on Jesslyn, did a search for me. She entered Locke, and this is what came up. My name is first up there, but there's Locke and Lord, which is a law practice here in town. Locke Hotels, Locke by Sato, and Locker Room, which was, I think, athletic shoes at one time, and another law firm that's there. Okay, I don't know why. Oh, Sergeant Matthew Locke, again, with the individual's last name. Again, that's something else that comes up. But you can search for jobs that way. You can also search your network. If you have your network, as you see up here, and click on that, you can know the number of connections, and you can search the connections, and you can again filter that connection and look at just people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that work at Lennox International, okay, a company in Richardson. And you're looking specifically for somebody in talent with a title talent acquisition. So this individual is looking for a recruiter at Lennox to send their profile to or their resume to. Let's take a look at a specific company. This is a search I did for a company here in Richardson called Met Analytics on Bush, just next to the TI facility there on Renner Road. Again, I did a people, then I clicked on people search on their homepage and came up with that information that you see right there. Again, there are 510 employees. When I clicked the people and did that, it came up, I said, I want people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It showed 129 people. If we go back that screen for just a second, down here at the bottom, there's 129 people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. By clicking on the screen, it listed those people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Then I listed recruiter. Again, it listed the one recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at Med Electronics over here, Med Analytics in Richardson. If I typed in HR, there are about 6 people listed there. So again, try some different terms, not just recruiter there, but recruiting or human resources is another way to take a look at things. But you can do one other thing with that by looking at a company. You can do a search. Notice over here, there's jobs. The jobs tab, if I clicked on that, okay, I came up with 6 jobs opening. And you can do one other thing with that. You can create a job alert. Again, if you have some targeted companies, create some job alerts on the different companies that you're interested in. That way they can feed you, whether daily or weekly, the new job openings as they're posted. That's a way to maybe be the first to get something for a specific company that you're interested in. Okay, something to take home with you, to do at home. Complete your profile. Have a complete profile. In each section that's there, use the name that you want to be known by. Make it easier for the recruiter to identify who you are. As I said, my name is John Locke Alderson Jr., but I use Locke on everything that I do, and that's how most people know me. Okay, the headline, use the job title or titles of the position that you're looking for. Again, you have 220 characters in your headline to play with. And if you don't use a title or don't insert one, it's going to simply default to your last job title. I do recommend it. Checking the open to work section below your headline, and you can list 5 job titles. If you click open to recruiters, you can either make it open to recruiters or open to all of LinkedIn. That's a choice that you get to make. Include your email and your phone number on the top line, the first line of your summary section. Your experience section, make it clear. Don't make them long, detailed descriptions. Again, paragraphs describing what you do is probably not going to get read. Okay, so limit it to 4 or 5 lines. And again, the job title, your duties, and measurable results. And the measurable results can be bulleted items, or as you saw on mine, were asterisks. And use the keywords from your profession. You know what you do. Somebody else is looking for somebody like you, look at that. And include the skills from your profession. And choose the ones that you want, not the ones that LinkedIn has chosen for you. Jeff?
Yes,
Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, let's see if I can go to, why have I got that open 3 times, Jeff? I don't understand. Why don't we look at somebody's reference? Let me see if I can get,
You should be able to just escape out of this, and because you had your, the main screen was up, so I think if you just click on escape and it should make that go away or take it out of presentation mode. I tell you what, I'll stop it for you and then you can reshare.
okay,
So now you can go pick your LinkedIn profile, click LinkedIn window.
okay. Is it up for everybody?
Not yet.
Okay. Should be up now, right?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, we have about 20 minutes. We'll take a look at somebody's resume. We can take a quick look at my profile and look at some of the things that are there. Notice that they're there, the different number. These numbers on your dashboard are going to change daily. Again, the things that you can look at. Here's my about section. Again, notice the see more there. Again, that's my profile, a list of the speaking to the topics and the engagements I've had as a speaker. So those are some of the things that you can do there. These are the LinkedIn presentations I've had, or the presentations that I've listed on LinkedIn. This is the blog activity, or my activity level. And this is the things on my jobs. You notice some of these don't have icons out here beside them. Again, I've got a couple things because I'm doing part-time things as well. Okay, but again, to see more experience, Mullen International, again, and some other things, the focus group. Here's my experience from Oracle Corporation. Notice how similar it looks to what was in the presentation that I did. Continue and go down to skills and endorsements. And if I click on the blue pencil, you notice the blue pen, if I drag that to the top, and it dropped down, I can choose something else from below. And it moved up to the top of the screen. If I wanted to rearrange these, I can do it that way. I'm not going to save that, okay. Things that are there. And again, the recommendations that are there. Again, I've got a few recommendations. These are a few recent ones that you have. You can ask for people to do that. Areas of interest and activities as well. Let's take a look at somebody's profile or look at somebody for a job. Jeff, I'll turn that over to you.
Okay, somebody in the chat box wants to pop their name in and we'll look at your profile. Anybody? Richard Smith. And that's him, the very first one there.
This one.
Yes. Now let me just, I'll compliment.
Yeah,
I'll compliment Richard on this. Richard looks like, in Zoom, he looks like his picture. I was on a Zoom call last Tuesday night and I went to connect with somebody and it didn't look anything like the person. So I sent them a note going, I'm not sure if this is really you or not. He said, oh yeah, that's me, you know, a long time ago, back when I had hair. That's how old the picture was. And I said, well, if I was a recruiter and we had a Zoom call and had an interview, I would go, you're hiding something because you're not the person that I'm seeing. So make sure you have a recent, fairly recent, up-to-date picture of who you are. So
if the first thing they see from you is BS, that has bad karma for the whole rest of the conversation.
Well, let's take a look at Richard's activity. I'm going to do his contact information. He has his email address there, which is great. He opened that up in his privacy settings. Again, a lot of them that we look at when they're in the second degree or third degree don't have that open. Okay, so that's great. He's got the connect button open. If I were to do this, and this, I'm going to violate a rule that Jeff has, and that's to customize this a little bit. Richard, we met at Career DFW LinkedIn presentation on June the 1st, but I didn't put that. I'm just going to do a send, so you can do that.
And just a little note for everybody that when you see that blue connect button, that means you can send a personal note. If you see a white connect button, that will not allow you to send a personal note. So don't click on a white connect button. Always look for that blue connect button, which means you usually have to go to the person's profile. Click on their picture, go to their profile, and then you'll find a blue connect button.
Richard is also listed as open to work. My next job should offer me network administrator. He's given a couple of titles, and he's open to full-time or contract type work. Again, he's asking me to see that, what he's open to, okay? So I'm not going to do that, but we'll look at further. Okay. This featured section is his resume. Again, this is cast in concrete resume. So if his skills, he's got a general group of jobs that he's looking for, like network engineering, network administrator, that's okay. But remember that that resume is not changeable if it's applied for a job if somebody's looking at it, okay? You've got some good cell time, professional seeking opportunities. I would indicate some other opportunities in IT in terms of the descriptive material that's there, self-employed, okay? Systems administrator, good. Those are some things. Okay.
Add a couple bullet points underneath that underneath your current job, which is looking for. Put a couple bullet points telling people what it is what results you've had, what you want to do.
What do you do and what have you accomplished? Those are, because people want to hire somebody that's got some accomplishment. What did you do for your prior employer? What have you done? Because that's an impression of what you can do for them. Again, the same time, any of the jobs that you have there, Electronic Transaction Consultants Corporation is a systems administrator. What kind of system were you working on? Okay. Was it mainframe, mini computer, or some of the things that you do? Was it networking like Cisco or some other things like that? But you've got a pretty good looking resume. You've got endorsements. You can do that. If I were to click on the endorsements, when I looked at his profile and troubleshooting, I could do that. He's got, doesn't have any, he's got one recommendation that he's received there.
Yeah, you need to try to get two recommendations from 2021. So if you can find somebody to get you current ones, that would be great.
Let's do a quick job search here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it in the search box at the top. Notice as I type in that in jobs, in people, you do it in the search box, it gives you these options up there. So I'm going to do it in jobs. Again, this, because I didn't enter in a location, it's there in the United States. So I'm going to enter. Okay. Notice he has a number of results, but if I go to all the filters and just go on the past week and apply, it took it from 798 to 159 jobs in a hurry. So those are fairly fresh jobs that probably haven't already been filled. Again, some of the other things that you could do, notice this one, it says 2, senior network engineer, giving descriptive or lead. Again, to give just additional descriptive information about the job and the amount of experience that you acquired with it. Okay, let's try somebody else, Jeff.
All right, Charlie, 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 Smiley, SMILEY.
Thank you, Locke. That was some useful information.
Okay.
I need to learn how to put a certificate into my profile.
Well, there's an area that
SMILEY. Yeah. Oop.
I think my picture's pretty close, so.
Oh, because you're still in jobs. We need to go back to the link, back to people.
One thing, that's a good point. Notice here, there's a down arrow by jobs. I can use that to look for people.
Fourth one,
Which
Which
one are
one?
we, Charlie? Number
right there,
two
right
down
there.
here?
That's me.
Well, I'm not gonna check that because Jeff has said, don't connect when it's a white connect like that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's blue, but I'll do it over here. We're connected because I met at the careerdfw.org LinkedIn presentation. So I just sent it to him. I violated Jeff's rule, but I've done it verbally to him, okay?
Yeah, we're gonna
Again.
have to talk about that.
I know, you're gonna fuss at me. Okay, product. Charlie, you have used about 50 characters right here, product management professional. That's not very descriptive of what you want, okay?
Yep.
You can do a lot better job of doing that. His contact information, because we were second degree connections before I sent that, I don't know how to get in touch with him here. So I'm gonna go down and look at his about section. Notice it's not on the first line there. You've got 3 lines there. He's done a good job of talking about value proposition, but again, I don't know how to get in touch with him. So put your contact information at the top, please. Make it easy for me to.
Do you believe that the recruiters don't, or do they use the LinkedIn InMail, things like that, or is it just better to have it? I understand what you're saying, but do they?
Well, recognize that not all recruiters have taken out the software license. The professional LinkedIn recruiter is, I said, $19,000 for 2 seat licenses. The one that's recruiter light is, I think, about $500 a month for that one. So it's only $6,000 a year.
There is a recruiting firm here in Dallas that I'm aware of. They have about 30 employees. None of them, they do not pay LinkedIn for anything. So they only see what they can see on the generic, what you and
On
I
your
can
profile.
see.
Yes,
So
on your
you've got to
profile.
let people know, make it easy for people. Listen, Kurt Vonnemotter, who's a retained recruiter who spends that $20,000 a year for the recruiting package, his preference is when he finds somebody of interest, he wants to pick up the phone and call them.
Mhm.
He does not, InMail is his third choice.
Wow.
So phone number is first, email address would be second. And because the phone number, he immediately can find out if you're interested. And if not, he can go on. I mean, it's how quick. So yeah, make it easy.
Notice on Phobio, he's gone, again, I would have, you've got this through May, so you're fairly current here. You might add a current position for June forward, but not necessarily. Again, notice he's done the bullets here. I would take those out into Word, copy and paste that into Word and line up your bullets, okay? So that they stand out a little bit more. But good idea to have some key accomplishments, so that's good. He doesn't have that when he was at Verizon. And he doesn't have
Well,
that.
maybe if you click on see more, he may have it underneath
Okay.
see more.
You're right. But again, that's an assumption that I just made. I didn't click on see more, which he has there. He's done,
There we
in
go.
this case, he's done 2 dashes, which is good. But again, visually it stands out if these are lined up right there. Okay. So other than that, that looks good. How about a job? Charlie, you're in Atlanta, so you're looking for a job as what? Product manager?
Product management.
Notice as I start to do that, I have a number of choices. But again, the default setting, if you don't enter a location, is not going to be Atlanta. It's going to be the United States. And again, I mean, people. I want jobs. Again, United States.
I would add, be careful about the location. I've had folk calling as far away as White Settlement and Weatherford asking if I was interested in local positions.
Yeah, okay, well, that's what you could do in that about section, open to work section that you have. Notice here, the filters, this easy apply. I'm going to check the filter real quick, and put past week, and it'll take it down from 9,600 jobs to 2,000 jobs. In your case, you might want to look at other things that you're going to have. You're not looking at entry level, so I would say mid-senior director level, Charlie.
Correct.
Okay. And again, geographic This is a way that you can narrow your search down on geography as well. Industry-wise, you can check if he has a specific industry. The job function in terms of product management. Is it manufacturing? Is it marketing? Is it product development? Is it an IT type job?
Right.
So I'm just gonna do, it took it down further from 2,000 to 500 to 600 jobs. Okay. So those are some different ways that you can do the filters. And if they don't work, there is on here.
Hit reset.
I was covered up on my screen.
Ah,
Okay. So that's a way that you can go back to your original search that you can have. Experience level, the date posted. You can do it here. If I wanted the last 24 hours, it took it down to 2,900 jobs. You can
and
search
then
by
right there,
company.
once you have your profile set, right there, you can click on job alert and you can turn on a job alert
Yeah,
so that
once-
it'll send you a job alert every day and
Yeah.
let you know about
For
these
this
things.
position, now, if he was interested in this specific company like Media Ocean, he could go to that company. Another way to do that. Okay, here's Media Ocean. And if he's interested in that company, he's looking at jobs. Okay. Well, let's say he's looking at, he could create a job alert for Media Ocean right here. Specific company, that might be one of his target companies. Let's try somebody else. We have time for one more, Jeff.
Thanks, Locke.
Who else? Jeff, I see, I don't know if you just put your information there, if you want us to look for you. Jeff Gale? Do you want us to look for you?
I was just putting in my information.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else would like, would anybody else like for us to look at you? Going once, going twice. No, we're not going to, Jeff was just putting his information in the chat.
Okay.
All right, Raul, here we go. R-A-U-L, that, there, the very first one right there, Raul Ortega.
Okay. He's done it for his banner. He's done something for a skyline for somewhere. That looks like, was that Dallas? No.
No,
Atlanta,
That's-
Georgia.
That's
That's
Atlanta,
Atlanta.
okay. But again, we're first degree connections, so I don't have that. Again, the message. Again, he's open to work. These are the titles that he's looking at. If I want to look more at that, these are the locations. So he's willing to go to Madrid or to Vancouver, British Columbia, okay, or Alpharetta, which is a suburb of Atlanta. Okay. The about section, he's got his phone number. I would take out the contact me at and just leave your phone number. Most people are going to know that. Okay. Don't use the real estate because those first three lines are the most significant ones. I would take I am just bilingual global business resilience professional. Okay. That from a recruiter standpoint, I don't know exactly what that is. Okay. Resilience professional who delivers significant operational improvement through developing robust strategies. Okay. Again, give me an idea where your expertise lies. What kind of a functional job title have you got? In your case, you were looking at.
and if somebody doesn't know that that's an email address, do you really want them contacting you? I don't think you need to say email, you know?
Yeah, don't need to say email. You don't have the phone number. That's
You don't
real
have the-
estate that you can use for other things.
Right,
But again, I would also plug in a business resiliency. What is that? Is that business recovery from a disaster? Okay. Is this something like dealing with a pandemic? Business continuity, which implies that business after a disaster recovery. So I would put some of those kinds of things. What's an example of something that you've done in business continuity and disaster recovery? And information security, that's a hot field right now. Info security, cybersecurity is another hot area right now. So if those are there, I'd have those down here in your about section as well without having to look at that. Again, he's got, this is good, okay? Okay, the other things that you have that with Equifax is a company. Again, I would add a current position because you've been out of work for over a year now. Okay, so what is it that you're looking for? You're looking for a disaster recovery, business continuity specialist or manager position in Latin America or over in Europe. Okay. Jeff, I think we're running out of time.
Yeah, why don't you go head up to
Thank
just
you.
head up to his picture at the very, very top. I just would like to point that out. Raul went ahead and put his phone number right, built it into his picture so that if anybody would just search his name in Google and his profile popped up, even if you weren't connected to him, you would be able to reach out and call him up and go, hey, let's talk. So
One other thing I'd suggest on that phone number is two things. One, he's added the +1, that's the United States for international calling. So somebody calling the US, he would add that +1. I would do periods rather than parentheses around the 408. Okay, it's easier to understand because 408 parenthesis 9 is a little bit clouded there. So I put a period so it's clearer.
you like
This is a
periods or
suggestion.
dashes?
Huh?
You like periods or dashes?
Yeah, periods,
Periods, okay,
because it's
That's
easier
all.
to see the phone number. Okay.
right. Okay, well, very, very good. Let's see here. Locke, thank you very much. Next week, our speaker is going to be Terry Sullivan. He's going to talk about how to tell your key contacts who you are, what you do, and how you can help. So Terry is a marketing person. So he's totally different from how to find a job, but here's how to build out your profile and how to use LinkedIn on a daily basis. We'll talk about that. Please note that the session next Tuesday will not be recorded. So if you want to watch Terry, you do have to watch him live.
I'll put in a plug for Terry and for Kurt and for Ruth. They're all excellent in what they do. They give different perspectives. I learned something from each one of them as I tune in because Jeff has noted I've been a participant a couple of times on the call from other people.
Right. Thank you very much.
For those who want a copy of the slide deck, even though it's being recorded, if you'll send me an email to Locke Alderson, all one word, @gmail.com, I'll be happy to send you the slides.
Good. Let's see here. I'm not advancing the right slides. All right. I need everybody to please raise your right hand. And Locke, I'll make you raise both hands because since you violated it twice today.
Yeah.
Please repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. So very, 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 very important, because when you send that note, you give somebody a reason to connect. Okay, I get connection requests every day from people. No, I don't know why somebody wants to connect with me. I get that generic connection request. Send that personal note. Send me a personal note, I will connect with you. Don't send a personal note. You're sitting with the other 80 or 90 people that are in my did not send a personal note case. All right, Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 5 days a week. We got a Monday off yesterday, so we're in 4 days this week. Tomorrow for our interviewing Wednesday, every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we talk about interviewing. It'll be session number 5, analyzing the job description. I think this is real, real important, because once you've got to be able to analyze that job description, see how well you fit, and beside being able to rehearse for your interview and come up with your star stories that would relate to that, it also helps you to prepare, when you analyze a job description, how to prepare a resume. Thursday, we do effective resume Thursdays every week. This Thursday, resume writing rules that will put you ahead of the competition. And also at 2 p.m. on Thursday, right after the resume session, I'm doing a presentation on how to use Career DFW and Career USA in your job search. It's an open event. The event is on the Career DFW calendar, and I'll put that out in an email for anybody who's on one of the mailing lists that we're part of. This Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, we're going to have open forum the first Friday of every month. We just talk about whatever you want to talk about. You bring us your problems, your questions, your concerns. We will talk about it. It's a free-for-all. Everybody who's online can participate, offer their opinions and suggestions. So that's what we're here to do. This Friday, the first Friday of the month, Women of Wisdom will be meeting. They meet at 1 o'clock Central Time. We meet the first and third Fridays of the month. If you're interested and you'd like to join that group, you do need to send an invitation to WOW@CareerDFW to be invited. It is by invitation only, because they're trying to keep the group down to 20 or 25 people just it's a lot of interaction in the group. So join them this Friday at 1 o'clock. Next Monday, for Networking Mondays, every Monday we talk about networking, networking tips and techniques with our guest speaker, Charlie Zinger. Many of you know, if you're part of the South Lake Focus Group, Charlie's been a part of that, the focus group team lead people for many, many years. So Charlie will be our guest speaker next Monday. And every week we've had a different speaker for the last 3.5 months. So every Monday we have a different speaker talking about networking. If you'd like to join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups, both of them are available. The Career DFW group has over 13,000 members. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but if you'd like to join, both groups are available. Expand your connections, make it easy to reach out to other people. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. When you do that, you'll get an email every time when we post a new video. This is what the YouTube channel looks like. Click on playlist if it doesn't pop up the playlist, and then pick whatever subject you want to do down below: resumes, interviewing, LinkedIn, North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group speakers. You can click on that. Don't click on the video is my hint. Don't click on the video because it'll start playing. But down below where it's with that red arrow is click on view full playlist, and up will come a list of all the different speakers and topics and what we've talked about in date order. The most recent one should be on the top. If not, click on the little sort button and get it sorted the way you need it to. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, please send an email to Career USA, +subscribe@groups.io. And I'll put that email address up here at the very, very end for you to get to. Please note, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Locke is a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. We have no full or part-time employees. Everything I've done in the last 13 years has been as a volunteer. We survive on donations. It pays for Zoom. It pays for the web names. It pays for the web hosting. Anything that I can't get donated that we have to pay for is what the donations help do. So please consider making a donation when you can get your next job. It'd be greatly appreciated. So thank you for joining us today. Hopefully we'll see you later in the week. If not, we'll see you again next week. Locke, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Jeff, for having me.